In this figure, we're going to be taking a look at Ahsoka Tano for the Black Series 6-inch line. This is based upon her appearance from the Rebel series. And I think this was the very first Black Series Ahsoka that we ever got. I've had this action figure in my collection for a long time now. I actually found her a few months after her initial release in 2016. I think I found her, I'm trying to think of the exact day. I think it was like September 9th or 10th of, no wait. It was like September 4th or 5th of 2016 actually. And I found her out in the wild of all places. This was during a time where, being the very first Black Series Ahsoka and the popularity of the character, most people were not finding this action figure at retail at all. And if they did, usually it went pretty quick. And I found her at Kohl's, of all places. And this was still during the time where Kohl's was a hidden gem for Star Wars action figures. It seems like, at least the impression I have, after this wave, Kohl's was never really into getting Star Wars action figures in ever again after that. At least over the last 7 years, or 8 years now. Of course, I don't shop in Kohl's very much, but it seemed like in 2017 through 20, I probably went into Kohl's a grand total of a few times. And none of the Kohl's I went into seemed to have any action figures at all, except for a clearance style Constable Zuvio or Finn from The Force Awakens. And that's been it since. So this might very well be one of the last waves that Kohl's really carried. And yeah, it just is what it is. So I really like this action figure. I cherish her greatly, and she's been a big part of my collection over the last 8 years. Take a closer look at her. I have her displayed among my Clone Wars animated action figures. You might have seen in some of the older room tours I've done her on display there. Even though we have a few of the Clone Wars Ahsokas now, I just never have seen the need to swap her out. It's kind of like she was there first, so we'll let her have it. But I think she blends in pretty good with the Clone Wars. So the head sculpt is really good. This was before the photoreal tech, and I think Hasbro did a nice job with the painted face. The eyes are very well defined. The facial features look really good. They did a very nice job. Nothing's blotchy about it. Very crisp. As you can see by her head tails, she's matured a lot since the Clone Wars. Not exactly sure how old she would be at this point. Maybe in her 30s, I guess. Has very nice paint detailing in her head tails. Neutral expression, which I think is a neat thing. It shows a little bit of an older Ahsoka, and she's maybe more stoic at this point. As for the rest of her outfit, it's for the most part pretty standard for something that Ahsoka would wear. But she does have armor this time, which none of the other Ahsokas seem to have, which I think is pretty neat. She does have her sleeves here with the gauntlets and then communicators there, I think. Or no, that's not a communicator, that's just part of the design. At least it seems to be. Then you have basically her belt here. And then she does have these two hooks on the side for her lightsabers. Interesting because on the Clone Wars Season 7 Ahsoka, you plug them in instead of have them hang by the hook, which I think is better. This is a much better design because this flap here on the side is very loose and it's very hard to insert the hilt. And if you see my previous video with the Clone Wars Season 7 Ahsoka, I talk about that a little bit. And we have her pants here. Very standard, kind of like a maroon color. And then we have her high heel boots. As you can see, her limbs, they do kind of bow out a little bit over time. And it's because her legs, they're not the most sturdy in the world. There is a little bit of space between her thigh, basically, and then the rest of her leg, as you can see. I hope you can see. Camera doesn't want to focus too well. But yeah, when they have those gaps like that, oftentimes when the action figure is standing up, the legs will start bowing out, especially if they're kind of standing at an angle. But she has smaller feet, and because she has these high heel boots, she doesn't have a large footprint at all, so she's very hard to stand. So this has been about the best stance I could get her in. In terms of her articulation, she does have the ball joint at the head, then hinged shoulders, elbows, hinged wrists. This one goes up and down, this one goes in and out. Jointed torso, hinged hips, swivel thigh, then the double hinge at the knees. She does have the pins there. Then the rocker ankles. In terms of accessories, she has her 2 signature lightsabers from the Rebel series, which are a little bit different from what we see in the Clone Wars. I think they're basically the same, or close to the same, as the Mandalorian. The only difference is instead of the white lightsaber blade, it's like a translucent light blue, which is pretty nice. And you can see her hilts there. There's some nice paint detailing in those. And I'm not going to take the blades off because it might be kind of difficult, but just to give you an idea as to how they would look on the hooks. Much better than having to plug them in. Oh yeah, and also the soft goods skirt she has to accommodate for that flexibility. But yeah, very nice. I think that's a much better system than plugging it in. Wish they would do that more often. But I think that's pretty much all I can tell you about the Rebels Ahsoka here. We'll do some comparisons. Here she is with the older version of her from the Mandalorian. You can see how they look similar. Then we have the Clone Wars Season 7 figure. And then we have the earlier Clone Wars version of her. Whoops. Hopefully she can prop up right there. But yeah, they all look really good together. These are pretty much the 4 main Ahsokas that you can get in the Black Series as of now. I know I'm missing a few other releases, but I would say these are probably the core ones. And they're all really good action figures. It's really hard to say which one's better than the other. I guess it comes down to your personal preference and which appearance of Ahsoka you prefer. I like them all, though. They're fantastic action figures. I think Hasbro is just about on every attempt done a good job for all the Ahsoka action figures, 3 3/4 inch included. But I'm happy these are all part of my collection. So would I recommend the Rebels Ahsoka for your collection? I would. I would not pay an outrageous price for her. But I think ever since her re-release, the price for her has come down significantly. So I don't think she's anywhere near as expensive as she used to be. And the photoreal, like I said, from what I've seen of it, looks really good. So I can't really say the painted face or the photoreal are, of course, they're different from one another, but I can't really say one's like, oh, this one's bad and this one's good. The painted face and the photoreal both look good. So it just comes down to your personal preference as to which one you want. Other than that, I don't think there's really any significant differences between the two. The paint apps are just about the same. I'm sure it's cleaned up a little bit more on the re-release, or it's tightened up a little bit more. Other than that, essentially the same action figure. I'm happy she's been a part of my collection for the last 8 years, and I cherish her greatly, and she's a fantastic action figure, and I have her proudly displayed on the shelf there. Anyways, that concludes this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for plenty more reviews in the future. There will always be more to come. If you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I just appreciate all your support. And check out some links in the description if you haven't done so already. As always, thanks for watching.